So today I'm talking to David Annan from Crossroads Care Surrey. I believe you're the fundraising manager for the charity. So good afternoon, David. Welcome to Radio Jackie. You're the leading charity dedicated to supporting unpaid carers in Surrey. Today we're going to talk about your new online hub for unpaid carers. So how many unpaid carers do you estimate are in Surrey at the moment?
Well, in 2021, when the census was done, it identified that there are 120,000, which equates to about 10% of Surrey's population. But we know it's grown since then, so I would estimate it's probably near 150,000 today. Vast numbers.
That is a huge number. And just for people who are listening, how do you define an unpaid carer?
An unpaid carer is anybody that is providing support to somebody else who cannot manage without it. So even if you're just doing the shopping once a week for somebody, if they can't do it and can't get their own shopping, then you are technically their unpaid carer. And I think it's important to realise that even if you're husband and wife or you're dealing with your parents, you are still an unpaid carer if you're doing that for the other person. Okay.
And is there a means testing situation where people can apply for support if they're an unpaid carer?
They can. I mean, there's various benefits, and that's one of the things our online hub explains to people. There's various benefits such as a carer's allowance, attendance allowance, and various other things. But, for example, with the carer's allowance, it's only £81.90 a week, and you have to be doing over 30 hours a week of care for somebody. So, yeah, it's a very, very difficult situation.
It's a pretty small amount. So let's talk about the online hub. There's lots of resources there for unpaid carers to look into to see if they can get help or to maybe talk to other people in the same situation. How does it work?
Okay. Basically, Crossroads Care Surrey as a charity supports about 3,500 people each year in Surrey. Now, as I've said, in 2021, it was identified that there are 120,000 unpaid carers in Surrey. So to support those unpaid carers and those people that don't need physical help in their home, we've created an online hub to give them a route map of what they should do first, what they ought to know about, and who they should be talking to. And it's all set out in a logical order. So the first thing they need to do really as an unpaid carer is to register themselves as such with their GP. And that then opens up a carer's assessment, which they can have, which takes into account their needs as a carer and the person they're looking after. And it opens up services like Crossroads Care Surrey. But the key thing is that people need to identify themselves as an unpaid carer. You know, you can't just say, well, I'm doing it for mum, or I'm doing it for dad, or I'm doing it for my husband or my wife. You are also an unpaid carer. When you realise that, then help is out there. So that's the first step.
Yeah, this is key, that you might be just looking after your husband or wife and they're a loved one, and you think that's your duty to do that, and you end up giving up work, giving up your own life. So it's really, as you say, it's essential that they have somewhere people like that can go to see if they are eligible for support or eligible for help in any sort of way.
Absolutely. And then the second stage of the hub, it then tells you what benefits you could be entitled to. And they range from many things such as attendance allowance and carers allowance, but also things like council tax discounts.
Yeah.
My own father, who lives in his own house and has a mental impairment, he doesn't have to pay council tax.
No.
A lot of people don't realise that. There's things such as your local council will pay for home adaptations in your house to support you if they're less than £1,000. If you need them now, a lot of people don't know that facility is available. So we're explaining everything on the online hub to say, be aware of all of these things, and you may be entitled to them.
That's excellent. And is there other Crossroads Care across the rest of the country, in Dorset or in London? Are there other hubs like yourselves, or are you a one-off just for Surrey?
Crossroads Care Surrey, you'll find there's a Crossroads Care Kent, and we'll be found in other parts of the country. As charities, we're all run independently. So although we may provide roughly the same sort of services, they may not have this particular online hub. It's something that we've created for unpaid carers in Surrey.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's brand new. The third element to it is we then explain the people that unpaid carers should be talking to. And we're talking about solicitors, financial advisors, funeral arrangers, care homes, estate agents, organisations that can help you at home or help you out and about. All of these organisations we're asking to join the hub. So if there's a Surrey-based solicitors or financial planner or care home, we want them to join the hub, because if all of us start sharing this information, we've got much more chance of reaching those 120,000 plus unpaid carers.
Yeah. And this is part of your carers directory in the hub, isn't it? This is that section of the hub.
Yeah, the unpaid carers hub sits on top of the directory. So once you've gone through the route map, there's then a directory where you can search should you not have been given the information you need on the route map before it.
Super. And I believe there's also an employees section to the hub. Is that right?
That's right, because we know a lot of people, or a lot of unpaid carers, and I'm one of them. We also have to work, so we're trying to reach those unpaid carers through their employer. So we've set up a free resource for employers to say, be aware that you may have unpaid carers working for you. And if you're employing people that are over 45, there's a good chance that they are providing unpaid care to someone at home.
Yeah.
That hub advises them how best to support them, so that it can keep a good employee, and the employee is able to carry on working whilst also caring for somebody. And then ultimately they can route that employee to the unpaid carers hub.
Brilliant. And I believe there's a recent addition to that employers now, is that they have to give unpaid carers so many hours unpaid leave per year?
Yeah, it's if you're working full time, it's 5 days leave a year, but it's unpaid. So it's not a great benefit really, because it all comes down to the cost is being picked up ultimately by the unpaid carer to do the caring. So it's not great.
Have you had any feedback from people to say they're taking advantage of that and it has been useful? They've been able to go on holiday or something, but no, there's no.
Well, I think it's partially useful in the fact that if you're in an emergency, you can take the time off, but it does come at your own expense. And we know across the country that one of the biggest issues for unpaid carers is there's many that are on the poverty line.
Yeah.
And they're using food banks because the care that they're providing, they've had to give up work, the benefits they're getting aren't enough, and they're struggling. So, I think we need to do more. We definitely need to do more for unpaid carers.
We do. So we've had a change of government. They've got big plans for the NHS. You've also got the Liberal Democrats in there with 72 seats, with Ed Davey being an unpaid carer himself. Do you think he's going to go to PMQs and try and bring it to the forefront and work with the government to highlight how many unpaid carers we have? And do you think there's more wiggle room within the NHS such that unpaid carers aren't such a necessary resource? There's other facilities to help people.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully with the new government, we'll get to the stage where no carer should be living in poverty and using food banks. So there needs to be better financial support and benefits for those carers to enable them to stay in work. So yeah. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see more support for young unpaid carers.
Yeah.
Those young unpaid carers that are trying to balance their caring with getting an education. There needs to be much more funding and support for them. And then I think more funding to local community support services like ourselves, so that we can prevent carers doing that excessive amount of caring to the detriment of their own health and well-being. I don't think unpaid caring is going to go away. So it's about how can we help this growing number, and it is a growing number, because we know people are living longer and more people require care. So I think there are three ways, hopefully, a new government could make things better for unpaid carers.
That's great. So finally, how do people find your hub if they need help?
They can go to our website, which is Crossroads Care Surrey, all one word, .org.uk, or they can just type in Crossroads Care Surrey on any browser, and because we've got a .org website, Google loves that, so you'll find us that way. You can email us at inquiries@ccsurrey.org.uk, or you can phone us on 01372 869 970, and we'd love to chat to you.
Super. And if any Radio Jackie listeners listen to this interview and think, I'd like to help, is there something people can do on a volunteer basis to help you do the job you do?
Yes, looking for volunteers. One of the things that we offer carers, and any carer in Surrey can apply for, is a Surrey Carers Card, and it's completely free. And on it enables you to list an emergency contact should anything happen to you as an unpaid carer. But there's various benefits on that card, discounts that you can benefit from as you go about your business. And what we're looking for volunteers across Surrey to help us promote this card to local businesses to give us those discounts. So, for example, hairdressers, coffee shops, anywhere where an unpaid carer is likely to go when they've got a bit of time off from caring, because that's what Crossroads Care Surrey permit or allow.
So they can email you in and say, can we have this card that we can, or would you like people to distribute that card around places so people know about it?
Yeah, it's mainly talking to traders to say, would they join the scheme, and get them to sign up to the scheme. That's a big volunteer ask that we've got to, again, make that card aware. I mean, there's another card that I'd just like to share with everybody. And again, every unpaid carer in Surrey that's looking after someone in Surrey, there's an emergency care planning card, completely free. And on that card, you can list one or more people that can take over from you should you have an emergency. And if those people aren't available, then Crossroads Care Surrey will pick up the care free of charge for 48 hours. It's completely free. Again, it's about getting unpaid carers to know about it, and to everybody to share that this is available. But it all boils back down, Jackie, to that it's about people understanding they are an unpaid carer.
I think that's the bottom line, isn't it? That's to understanding whether you're an unpaid carer or not. You might be thinking you're not, and maybe if they listen to this interview, they'll realise they are, and they can turn to you for help. David, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you for coming back on Radio Jackie, and do keep in touch with any other your initiatives that are in the process.
Great, thanks, Jackie.